everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be one that is super requested. You guys have asked for this like quite a lot of times actually. I've just realised I've worn this jumper in like the last 4 videos. I do own other clothing, but this jumper is so warm. How are they actually going to mow the lawn now? How at this time of the... I've been living here for 2.5 weeks and this is the first time they've mown that lawn and they pick the one time I get my camera out to film video. Wow. Today's video is going to be a really requested video. Actually, a lot of you have asked for this video time and time again, and it's basically like how to build a good CV, how to be employable, how to get work experience and all that jazz. I obviously have never had a conventional job in that this is my job, I get paid for this, but I'm registered as self-employed and I have been doing it for 5 years, so I've had a job for 5 years, but I never had to interview for this, I never had to put in a CV or a cover letter. But that being said, I've applied for many an internship, many a language course, many a position in which I've had to do interviews. So although I've never actually applied for a 9 to 5, you know, job, I have done cover letters, I've done CVs, I've done internships, interviews, everything. So basically, before anybody comments that, then yeah. But before we start this video today, I'm really excited, like really excited, guys. I'm so excited about this. You're gonna die. Like, you're actually gonna die. I'm so excited that this video is sponsored by read.co.uk. So read.co.uk is basically a website that you can use to help you find your dream job after you graduate. They have a myriad of different roles from the top graduate employers, and thousands of new jobs are added to the site every day, so there will always be something for everyone. They also offer CV and interview tips, so if you are looking to get that dream internship or get that dream position, then you need to check out read.co.uk. But even more exciting is that they are running a free draw in which they're going to pay off people's student loans. Yes, you heard me right. They're going to pay off people's student loans. If you win, you get your student loan paid off up to the value of £50,000. Obviously, you have to have your loan with the student loan company and you can't be privately funded. But read.co.uk basically just want to make finding that perfect position after you graduate so much easier. And imagine graduating with no student debt. Just imagine it. Just imagine that scenario right now. If you would like... Wow, okay, rude. Let's try that again, shall we? So, if you would like your student debt paid off to the value of £50,000, I literally can't believe that this is a thing, like, wow. All you have to do is go to the description box of this video to enter. All of the information and everything and terms and conditions will all be in the description box below. So all you need to do is go down there, enter the free draw, and you could find yourself graduating with no debt. Thank you so much to Read for sponsoring this video, and be sure to make use of all of the amazing resources they have available. So that is my first tip, is to use read.co.uk because they have tips, tricks, positions, everything you need. Perfect. So the main thing I got questions about was actually work experience. I have done a fair bit of work experience and I'm just going to quickly go through like what I've done just for context. So I did work experience at the forensic department of Wolverhampton University in year 10. That was work experience that I got through a family friend because she works at the university and she was like, would you like to come and shadow me for a week? So I didn't have to like apply for that one per se. The next one I did was at the UN in Geneva actually, and this was through a program where I had to pay for like accommodation and things. But again, I had to apply and I had to say why I wanted to do it. I didn't have a CV and a cover letter, but yeah, I went to the UN for a week and we got insights into all the different departments, and that was really good. If I can find the link to that program, I will put it down below, but when I did it, it was from a website called My Work Experience, which was a really good website. I have also done 2 weeks at Sky News. That one was one that I applied through my own research. I found the application form and I sent that in, and that was like an early career scheme through Sky. So that one was one where like it's already like an established scheme, if that makes sense. I was also supposed to be doing work experience at ITV, but I got ill and so I couldn't do it, which was so upsetting. And that one I got by sending an email to the ITV studios where I lived. So as you can see, there are so many different methods that you can get work experience. Obviously, I'm aware that not everybody has like family friends in the area that they want to go into, but I don't want to go into forensic science, and yet I found it very, very useful to just go and shadow someone and see what the working world is like. If you don't have connections in high places, do not worry, there are other ways in which you can get work experience. My number one tip with work experience is if you don't ask, you don't get. Like, I have emailed so many places, and if they've said no to me, they've directed me to a place where I can apply for work experience. So the BBC, for example, they have a centralised work experience scheme, and that's going to be one that I'm hopefully going to do in the summer. And all you have to do is apply on their website, whereas I emailed BBC Oxford and I was like, Oxford, can I please do some work experience? And they directed me to the right place, if that makes sense. Another tip in terms of emailing is to go local. So say if you want to go to radio, then email a local radio station. They're much more likely to take you on than perhaps the big guns. And also going local means that you get a real appreciation of how things work in your local area, and it's a really good way to show that you're keen, you're interested, and it's a lot more accessible. Nag, you know, if send emails, like follow up on emails, and don't be afraid to just email people. Like, the worst they can say is no, and the amount of opportunities I've got from just emailing is incredible. There are also, as I mentioned, centralised schemes. I know, for example, for law, work experience tends to come in the form of vacation schemes that you have to apply for through a centralised sort of process. Same with journalism. There's a lot of very, like, you know, like journalism schemes that are, you know, not, you can't just email them, you have to apply at the right time of year or whatever. But that being said, like, don't be put off by those. Just because they're competitive doesn't mean that you don't stand a chance. Also, in terms of work experience, it's worth remembering that there are different work experiences available for different age groups. So I know that when you're 16, it's a lot harder to get work experience than it is when you're 18. And that's for a good reason. It's because you don't realistically need work experience until you're going into the working world. And obviously a lot of people assume that you are gonna wanna go to university. So they're like, oh, well, you've got 3 years to get work experience. And I know that if you wanna perhaps do an internship or something, that can be really frustrating. But by the same token, a lot of internships expect less work experience than a graduate job would, for example. In terms of applications for work experience, my number one tip is to do your research. Do not apply to a company and just be like, oh, I'm really interested in radio, so like, I'd love to come and work at your radio. Be like, because they're gonna be like, okay, great, but why our radio? You know, you need to know what the radio station's about. You need to know, you know, the main, you know, the big things that they cover, important things about them, about the organisation, how the organisation works, all of that sort of stuff. That is what's going to really impress. You can have like a myriad of experience, but if you're not showing that you're interested in working in that particular company, why would they want to hire you? My next tip is to make sure that your work experience does not take up too much of your vacation, because I made that mistake in Hillary vacation. So I did like a lot of work experience in Hillary, and it was really good in principle, but by the end I was so tired and so behind on my actual university degree that like I had to work really hard in the second half of the vacation to sort of catch up on everything that I'd missed. So just remember that whilst work experience is valuable, like, so is your degree, and there's no point in having work experience if you don't do well in your degree, because then they're going to be like, well, you don't even meet the requirements for the degree, so it doesn't matter how many work experience placements you've done. So that's all my advice with work experience. Basically just be pushy, like ask questions, and you know, when you're actually on the work experience placement, like do stuff. You need to be on this work experience rather than just sat in the corner on your phone. Like ask questions, like propose ideas. Don't just shadow, like try and ask, like, is there anything I can be doing? Like, is there anything I can do to help? And I know it feels really uncomfortable, but you really have to push yourself, because if you use these people as your referees, then they're going to be invaluable. And also, if they like you enough, they may even offer you a job like after you've finished. So just try and be as proactive as you physically can. The next section of this video is basically on CVs. This is going to be a really quick section because I feel like this kind of deserves an entire video. If you would like a CV video, by the way, then comment down below and give this video a thumbs up. CVs need to be easy to read, because my mom, for example, has to sit and read through like 150 CVs for one, you know, placement or whatever. And if she is sat there and you have written in long paragraphs, she's not going to want to read that. And to be honest, she probably will not take a lot of information out of that. Whereas if you have got bullet points like, for example, Sky News. shadowed a political correspondent in Westminster, responsible for video output in XYZ field, learn how to do this, that. Just quick, start with verbs, because that's showing you as a dynamic, a proactive person, and just cut out the waffle. You know, you don't need to be like, I was lucky enough to be invited to Osterley, London for a 2-week placement with the world-renowned broadcasting service Sky News. You know, you can just be like, placement at Sky News, Osterley. They don't want flowery language, they just want to know what you did, what you got out of it, and why it's important. Also, you have to remember that like big flashy graphics and stuff really isn't going to get you anywhere. They just want the facts, they want the information, they want to know why you are a good candidate, because your interview and your cover letter are going to be what really shows you as a person, but your CV is more to just show what you've achieved. If you are running out of space, because it's best to keep it as like A4 or like max 2 sides of A4, only put the stuff on that's relevant. Like, for example, I would not put my forensic science work experience on a CV if I was applying for radio, because why would I? Do you know what I mean? Like, what is the point? Because they're not going to look and be like, oh, she did a forensic like placement, oh wow, we must hire her to work in radio. Like, it makes no sense. So be ruthless and just basically think, if I had to sit and read 100 of these, what would I just want to know? Like, what would I want to be able to get at a glance? A cover letter is also a really good place where you can show your knowledge for a company. I personally think that it is really good to like intertwine like hints that you are very well familiar with the company into your cover letter, because again, they're gonna have to read a lot of those, and yours will stand out if you show that yourself is like really familiar with the company and their ethos and like what they're doing. And finally, I would really say that one thing that I think gets swept under the rug, especially at university, is that, you know, everyone's so like caught up in the career frenzy and getting like internships and vac schemes and whatever, that you forget that, you know, on your CV and just in general, you want to come across as a rounded person. So don't just like sweep all of your interests under the rug. Like, if you like to dance, then dance. If you like to do photography, do photography. If you like to volunteer, then do that. And be sure to mention it at the bottom of your CV, because, for example, me having like danced and done my Duke of Edinburgh and whatever, like, might not be exactly relevant to the job, but it does just show that you are a rounded person with a good work-life balance, with hobbies, with interests outside of work. And I think that actually, like, if I was interviewing someone, they could be a really qualified candidate, but I think what would set apart a candidate would be how engaged they are in other aspects of their life, if they're passionate, you know what I mean? So don't just completely become a careers robot, because at the end of the day, they want to hire people and you are a person, you know? Wow, advice from Eve. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that it was useful. I would keep talking, but my voice is actually like going so quickly. Thank you so much to read.co.uk for sponsoring this video. Be sure to go and click the link in my description to enter this free draw, because you are literally in with a chance of getting your student loan paid off, people. If you have any video suggestions, do be sure to let me know as per usual, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye guys. Mwah. 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 And my nose is blocked, so I'm literally like, mwah. Bye.